someone is charged and sentenced. Perhaps they go away to prison, but what then? Can they be redeemed? The program at Moose Lake is trying to do just that. Here's reporter Bailey Warfield with her special report, Behind Bars, Looking Inside.
It becomes real when the door slams behind you.
Ironclad consequences.
Me, I was 16 when I came to prison.
Trying to prove himself at a young age.
16, trying to grow up, you know, trying to impress those older than me.
Attempts that landed this man, who we are calling Sam, behind bars. Because seeing an inmate's face can still be traumatic for victims, the prison requires that we conceal their identities. Sam has already served more than 10 years in prison, a lot of time for a young heart to harden.
You'll fail. We know this.
But what you're seeing here is an effort to break through hearts and minds.
And we do our best to get back up.
There are around 1,000 offenders here at the Moose Lake prison. They're serving time for everything from homicide to drugs to theft. So the victims look different for each, but it's not so much the crime as it is the consequences. Because no matter the offense, someone is victimized.
Our offenders need to understand the actions that they have contributed to.
And understand that the consequences go beyond their sentences.
A lot of them struggle at first when they first come to even recognize that they had a victim. So these are conversations that we have. Who are the victims of your crime? Somebody who maybe was a drug dealer sometimes comes in and thinks, I don't have any victims.
But Moose Lake Warden Nate Knutson says that's just not true.
There's always a victim somewhere, and vetting that out and flushing that out and identifying that is complex, and it's key.
And it may take years.
Our offenders are with us for averaging 75 months, so we have some good time to work with them on these particular areas.
Time even to hear from victims who may have seemed anonymous.
Victims need an opportunity to tell the person that has harmed them what that impact has been for them.
I applaud your attendance today. That means you're moving in a direction of change.
The warden is introducing a victim of domestic violence who shared with prisoners during National Crime Victims Week. Then it was time for the cameras to leave the room.
These opportunities through these 2 weeks to bring folks together, even though they may not be the direct perpetrator or victim to one another, is incredibly impactful.
To these men, victims are not unknown. They see them and hear from them. They have names.
These events are very, very, very moving.
For Sam, they help him reflect on crime's ripple effect.
When I go in there and listen to her story, you know, I see what their harm has caused, you know, and reflecting on my case, you know, and the harm that I caused on my victims.
He and the other inmates don't have to go listen, but Restorative Justice Coordinator Alicia Nichols says they come because they do want to be better men.
They are not happy with what it is that they have done to land themselves here. There's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, and they don't have very many opportunities to hear from the other side what the impact has been.
Case manager Chrissy Gamst says hearing from victims is incredibly valuable for the inmates.
There's a lot of processing that goes on. A lot of times they don't say anything right away, but then come back and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize the effect that I had.
It's an outlook Sam has not always had.
The approach I had was, I can't see you as a human, and I can't have no emotion, I can't have no heart when I look at you, because if I do, I can't commit that crime.
He says thanks to the programs at Moose Lake, his vision has cleared.
I think it gives me that outlook to see the other side.
And it often makes a lasting difference.
Less discipline. We see more accountability.
It helps me realize that, you know, we're all human, we all have experiences, we all have feelings.
And that's the goal. Rather than punish and release, rehabilitate and release.
I think it's important for our community to understand that there are good things happening in here.
Opening eyes and changing hearts.
It takes a while. It takes a lot of realizing and self-reflecting, you know, to think about the harm, you know, and why are we in prison, you know, what have we done, you know, and where do we go from here?
So that when the doors are finally opened, they can see the other side. Bailey Warfield for Eyewitness News.